So with the Moro arc now having been officially concluded, Dragon Ball Super now stands to delve even further with subsequent ones to follow. With the last chapter, Goku fought valiantly against the then Earth-infused Moro, who stood to jeopardize the safety and sanctity of the entire galaxy. And as Goku expended all the power he could possibly muster after being knocked out of Ultra Instinct, a divine power from elsewhere would be needed for him to finish the job. And so, with the energy of the young Oob, and the transference of which was overseen by Vegeta, Goku was able to then stand taller than ever and put an end to the monster's reign of terror, as the Earth and many other planets were now safe. With the latest chapter, we pick up right from there as Goku was immediately embraced by Krillin and his other friends. But despite everyone's collective merriment, Vegeta, of course, was scowling. But not exactly for the reason I had hoped for, as someone should have really held this man Goku accountable for that situation arising in the first place. But people all over were celebrating their victory, from the Lookout to Planet Yardrat, you name it. At this point, Vegeta would confront Goku, now questioning the source of that incredible power that came to his aid. Goku would then explain that he's not too sure himself, but it just means that there's someone else especially capable here on Earth. An answer that Vegeta was not satisfied with in the slightest, demanding Goku quit playing coy and tell him, as Goku would say that they'll probably all know at some point. From there, we would see a further exchange between Grand Supreme Kai and Oob, as Oob would then be referred to as the savior of the universe, something he didn't understand at all, now asking for this stranger's identity. To which GSK would say that they're practically family, something Oob would laugh off as they didn't look alike in the slightest, as GSK would just fly off to the shock of Oob. And tell me why this man just looks like Captain Underpants here. Is it just me? But Oob, now in disbelief, would question if that whole exchange was just a dream. GSK would then make his way back to the Lookout, and after being greeted by Dende, would shift back into Majin Buu. Hercule would be very excited to see his old friend return, as Buu would then express his hunger, seemingly having absolutely no recollection of his time as GSK. Hercule then deciding that a feast was in order, subsequently inviting everyone over as well. And really, it feels like every arc of Dragon Ball Super tends to end off with a party of some sort. And honestly, I am a fan of these more simpler times where everyone groups up together and shares these wholesome moments together. And I think it's something worth appreciating and focusing upon every now and again with the story, just to remind the audience that these guys are fighting for something. This is what they are intending to protect. Also, it's either Eska is having the finest mineral water he has ever had in his life, or they managed to get this super vegan to cheat on his diet before going home, as he would then say goodbye to everyone before being brought back by Goku, with the Namekian Dragon Balls serving to restore all the planets Moro had consumed, along with all their inhabitants. And so, with the exception of Miris, it was as if Moro's return had no impact, with the exception of making Goku and Vegeta several times stronger. But days later, Goku would travel with Vegeta, Buu, and Jacko back to Galactic Patrol headquarters for a ceremony that would commemorate their accomplishments. And it honestly felt like a graduation, as music was playing and everything, and they wouldn't be Galactic Patrol after this. At least 3 of them wouldn't be. But with this, the Galactic King would go to shake Goku's hand, and Goku grabbed one of his other tentacles, which happened to be his junk. And really, the exchanges between the Galactic King and Goku are always the best. I am going to really miss this. All of their names would then be called, with each of them striking a different pose and expression that, to me, are perfect characterizations of each of them. However, there was still another person left to congratulate, Miris. And through the crowd, he would make his way forward to the shock and disbelief of both Goku and Vegeta, to which Vegeta would immediately question, to which Miris would confirm that he did cease to exist, but only as an angel. Now, before we go any further, I want to talk about this a little bit. Dragon Ball isn't exactly one of those series where you would expect stakes, high stakes, as the Dragon Balls are literal magical artifacts that can be used to grant virtually any wish, which includes reviving people or further mitigating any issues that may have arisen from the discourse of a particular arc. However, Miris was actually an exception to this rule, and so he had the potential to actually be wiped from existence, and that would be that. But Dragon Ball continues to not let anyone die or perish or anything like that. And at a certain point, it is what it is. This is what we get from this story. We should know that by now. But even still, it's like, why? I mean, hell, not even Frieza stays dead. But yeah, days prior, when Whis and Beerus made their way to the Grand Priest, Beerus, sweating profusely, would place all the blame on Whis without hesitation. Whis then would say that he never expected such a thing from Beerus, then apologizing after the Grand Priest claimed himself to have been wrong to place him under the care of Whis. Furthermore, that technically a law-breaking angel would be erased completely, forever. However, in the case of Beerus, he did so temporarily, only to then bring him back as a mortal. He now possesses a lifespan and no longer has angel powers. The decision being thanks to Supreme Kai, as he offered to give his life in exchange for that of Beerus's. Something that completely pissed Beerus off, as the two were interconnected as two sides of the same coin. However, the Grand Priest wasn't done, as the three of them were to be punished for their involvement in the matter. From there, we would then see the attendants of Zeno-sama leisurely relaxing with some drinks and a hot bath, as Beerus and Supreme Kai would be ridden like racehorses while Whis was keeping score. Zeno-sama then telling Beerus he needs to gallop even faster, a request Beerus couldn't possibly refuse, and this was just hilarious. Apparently, their regular attendants needed some time off, so it just worked out. Beerus then getting hit over the head by the Divine Child on his back would be absolutely pissed at Goku for causing him this sort of trouble, as he would then question Goku's proceedings, with Zeno-sama now pulling on his ears, with Whis then describing the award ceremony that Goku was undergoing, as Beerus was now having his eyelids pulled on. So yeah, yet another after arc party. Zeno-sama then going on to jump on the God of Destruction's back, telling him to go faster, as Beerus would just curse Goku's name. And yeah, I just love this little guy. But yeah, with that, Goku and Vegeta's time with the Galactic Patrol would officially conclude, and peace had finally returned to the universe. But with Jacko now lazing about on the job, he would be called to accompany another officer to the Galactic Prison. They would then question the inmates, as apparently something resembling a faint distress signal seemed to emit from the crater left by the destruction of Moro. But on top of this, one of the inmates would be pissed that the Galactic Patrol had killed some of their friends, to which the officer with Jacko would respond that it was Moro who had done that, with Jacko then adding that Moro literally ate 7-3. However, the inmate would make it clear that you can't kill what was never alive, that 7-3 was just another possession that they'd stolen, once empty but gradually filled up to the point of being very strong, which only made the officer that much more grateful that he had been destroyed. However, the inmates would question their certainty that 7-3 was truly destroyed, as we would then see the gradual restoration of 7-3 as his one-formed eye would begin to blink and glow. The two officers would then leave Galactic Prison just to double check that 7-3 was really gone, and when they did, they wouldn't find anything. In fact, the distress signal that had caused them to be concerned had stopped totally, so they just chalk it up to interference. But hey, since they were on Earth anyways, Jacko would suggest that they go and get some cheese, something that the officer with him was unfamiliar with, as two figures hidden from view would hold onto the bottled up head of 7-3. And they would continue to hide while the two would fly overhead, now talking about milk. The two would then rush off and blast off. And a few months later, in the far reaches of space far away from Earth, the very same group that had collected 7-3 previously had now successfully transferred all his data onto the other units, as all now possess the same level of capabilities, something that immediately reminded me of Metal Cooler. And apparently, these guys created 7-3, originally referring to him as OG-73-I, which was then stolen. But with the vast majority of such bandits now being gone, they now had the potential to rule the universe, which seems to be the only thing on the mind of just about any Dragon Ball villain. But following this, a mysterious ship would approach, speaking to someone named Oatmeal, seemingly yet another food-related name in this series, as the person piloting the ship was named Granola as well. We would then quickly see them as they would swiftly board the enemy ship, as guards would be made to intercept them, firing off wildly. However, from the smoke, Granola would appear with a gun in hand as well, hitting each of the guards with paralyzing rounds, as we would then see Granola fully. And they look pretty cool. Not exceptionally, but it is a solid design I feel, as the captain of the ship would then tell them all to activate each and every one of the OG soldiers to combat this threat, as they would then all leave their pods in bony diapers that reminded me of a meme that is not safe for YouTube. And then scanning for a specific target, whom I suppose we can all guess, Granola would then fire off a concentrated finger blast like a pistol at the crystal of the incoming fighter. Now, I have to question just how much was saved onto 7-3, because that would help us better understand just how powerful this character may be. But one by one, they would all charge at Granola, and one by one, they would all be defeated with ease. Then breaking into the room that these soldiers had been guarding, Granola would find his target, 7-3, who was still in the process of full recovery. And that was the chapter. It has been a while since we've had a more dialogue focused chapter, and so this one felt especially long to me. Dragon Ball Super seems pretty quick to jump into a new arc, and by the looks of it, we already have our star character. Now, what exactly he intends for 7-3 and how he came to know of him yet remains a mystery, but I will say that I'm not really a big fan of the duplicating abilities thing, so I hope this 7-3 guy doesn't play a huge role in the arc to come as well. Now, to be fair, Granola himself could be a villain, he could be a bad guy, but I highly doubt this, because if he were to be a bad guy, he would have no reason to use paralyzing rounds with a mechanical gun. He could have just shot them like he shot the OG soldiers, but he didn't. And you know, hopefully this distance from the end of the Tournament of Power allows for the return of the anime to be near, but we'll just have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think about the end of the Moro arc and what's to come with the next one in the comments down below. And if you'd like to see even more Dragon Ball Super content from us, then be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor and hit the bell for notifications. Additionally, we have a Patreon page you can support us with and find in the description. With that being said, when it comes to bringing you some of the best Dragon Ball Super content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I am Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.